What's going on, people? It's Mr. Door back again with a review show. We're talking about yesterday's game that ended Wolves 1, Nottingham Forest 0. Another defeat for Nottingham Forest on the road. A lot to talk about. Is this going to be the worst season for Forest? Put in the comments, get involved of what do you thought your thoughts of yesterday's game. If you are new to our channel, please do hit the like button, subscribe if you're new, and comment below, people. What was your thoughts on the game? And if you've got any questions to me or the panel, please get involved. And if you are a member as well, please help the channel. It's £2.99 a month. If you want to join the podcast in the future, message me or DM me and get involved. Right, let's talk about the game. And got new and brand new guests on the channel. But first, we'll start with the Welsh man. He's got Wi-Fi problems. The Welsh guy next to me. We've got Stephen. How are you, Steve?
Yeah, I'm good, Ben. Nice to see you and you lads as well.
Below with me, we've got the Scarcer man. We've got Tillo. How you doing, Tillo?
I'm good, mate. I'm good.
Yeah. And last but not least, he's been on this channel before, and I thought he's going to come back on. He's a member as well, people. Like I said, if you are a member, it's £2.99 a month. And I thought, get Mark back on. He's been on the channel before. How you doing, Mark?
Yeah, all good here. Up the Forest.
Up the Forest. But like I said, people, give some love to both Steve, Tillo, and Mark as well. And we're going to talk about yesterday's game. Right, where shall we start? And as you know, Forest lost 1-0 to Wolves, another team that was in the bottom three. Wasn't a great game, but lost. And I'll start with you, because Tillo went to the game. Lee, what was your thoughts on the game?
Well, I said to you, didn't I, towards the end, I'm obviously in the minority here, but I actually think we merited a point. And that's not because I think, well, we were fantastic and this, that, and the other, because we weren't. But I think it was a bad game in general. I think Wolves were poor. They were certainly there for the taking. I can't really think of many times where they cut us open. They had a little spell before half time when they hit the post, and then obviously they've got the penalty. But we've had a chance to take a point with the penalty. Yatesy should have scored at the end as well. I think we weren't great, but I think we earned it for an away team and then being at home. I still think we earned. We merited a point, really.
Steve,
I'm surprised there's been so much anger out of the back of it. I thought we've had worse games this season and there's been less anger and whatnot. But I suppose it's all just coming to the boil now, isn't it?
100%. Steve, what was your thoughts on the
game? Yeah, I echo Lee a bit in a sense. I think we deserved a point. What I was most disappointed with, we didn't start playing until they went 1-0 up. I think we've let Villa and Wolves off the hook the last two games. They by far the poorest teams I've seen, especially Villa. Villa were poor. But yeah, yesterday Wolves had nothing in the final third, thank God. Luckily, Torre can't cross or finish or do anything in the final third, because otherwise we'd have been torn apart. Like Lee said, they hit the post just before half time. Rather than that, I think if they hadn't had that penalty, that game was 0-0 written all over it.
It deserved to be 0-0, to be honest.
Yeah, and the only thing I would say, the only bit of quality they had over us was their midfield. They had a bit more steel in there with Moutinho and Neves. But you expect that because they're two quality players. But yeah, again, why couldn't we just do that from, we getting too cagey against these teams? Just go for it. They were there for, like Lee said, they were there for the taking. I think they were poor. If we had started Mangala, I'm sure we get onto these players later, but Mangala and Lingard did make a difference when they came on. But yeah, just the last two games disappointed me. Just how poor the teams we played against, and we've just taken 1 point out of 6.
Mark, I know you've seen the highlights. Mark, what was your thoughts on the game?
I think a disappointing result. Agree with the lads. We were definitely worth a point when you look at the stats. Similar sorts of numbers of shots each side, both 2 shots on target for Forest and for Wolves. For me, I think it's personally, I think there's a lot of different things going off, but I think a lot of people were hoping for a more attacking-minded performance because Wolves, they've only scored 3 goals all season before they played us. So, I think we could have put a more attacking lineup against them and had more of a go at them. Again, Mangala, for me, he should be starting unless he's just not 100% fit. Gives us a bit more in midfield, and I think will push us forward more. And the substitutions as well. Some of those were a bit strange for me. I'm sure we'll get onto that in a bit.
100%. But like I said, what everyone's mentioned about the team. I'm going to go through before I get to Lee. I'm going through the comments, and so I always forget the comments as well. This is for how you doing, Kev? Evening. How you doing, Brian? How you doing? How you doing, Justin? How you doing? Good evening, Dor, Steve, Lee, and Mark. Hope you're well. How you doing, Eve? Hope you're well. Evening, Mr. Dor. I think Tuesday's game is going to be a do or die match for Coops. That's something that we are going to talk about in the show about Steve Cooper as well. But I'm not, and before I do, like I said, people I don't want people being. I want people to criticize the performance, don't go personal on each player because they don't deserve it. I've been on the last couple of streams I've been on. People have been going crossing the line. So just keep it on the performance. If a player doesn't play good, criticize him. Don't cross the line because, like I said, it's not good for the channel. And just keep it PJ and just don't cross the line because if you do, I will kick you out. And I've got the tools to kick you out. Lee, was you happy with the lineup that Cooper started?
I was, to be honest, because I've been a bit of an advocate of. I wanted some continuity with the team lineups. We've been getting 3, 4, 5 changes per game, and I don't think it's good for when we're trying to gel a team together. Anyway, I don't think it's good to be constantly changing it around. And we didn't really do a lot wrong against Villa, so I didn't see any reason to change it too much. I perhaps might have took Koyate out and started Mangala, but it's a 3-game week, isn't it, this week? So that might have come into Steve's thinking. I'll be surprised if Koyate starts against Brighton and Liverpool. So it's maybe a little bit of sort of planning for the week has gone into the lineup. So I didn't really have any problems with the lineup. I was quite pleased to see a little bit of continuity.
What about you, Steve? Do you agree with Lee, or are you different?
Yeah, I agree with Lee. I think probably would have probably would have put Mangala in for Kwate. Maybe I would have started Sturridge or Taiwo up front, a bit more presence up front because they have been a bit, have they been a bit tight to the back, Wolves, this season? Yeah, they haven't been leaking goals.
They were until he played City a few weeks ago. I think they'd only conceded 2 or 3 goals all season, and then they conceded as many in that game as they had done all season. And then they shipped 3 again last week, didn't they? So
yeah, because I know the Wolves side of things have been criticising the recruitment because they let Bally go to us, they let Connor Cody go, and they've left them short at the back because Neves played centre half last week.
He did.
Yeah, so I thought there might be a bit of a weakness there. Obviously, they might have had a player back yesterday because they looked a bit more solid at the back. But maybe go back to the main point. I think maybe I would have started Taiwo. But again, Dennis played well against Villa, so I think he earned his spot. I'm trying to think. Nico coming back in was obviously a straightforward swap. Again, we'd all got our opinions about the centre, but I love McKenna anyway. But Cook, people have got their doubts about him. Maybe people on about giving Baconi a chance. I seen something on Twitter earlier. I don't know if it was from a French side of things, a fan down that way or in this country.
You're on about. I see it as well. Did they have was it a minute clip?
Yeah, and it said this guy will die for you or something like that.
It was his friend. It's a close friend for Baconi.
Ah, right, okay. And obviously he's promoted him. But again, I agree with Lee in the aspect of continuity, but I think there's still one or two players we haven't seen enough of yet to really judge. So like of Bakone, Bolly, this new boy from France was on the bench as well. Bad is it a bad day?
Bad day, yeah.
Yeah. So maybe this three with Brighton, Liverpool come up. Maybe he'll mix and match on Tuesday, then go with his full. You have to go with his full strength then on Saturday against Liverpool.
100%. Well, you Mark, before we change subject, was you happy with the lineup? Because I said there's been loads of it's been changing a little bit. I know he made one change from the Villa game, but was you happy with that lineup?
Again, for me, as I said earlier, Mangala, I would have started him, and I would have liked to have seen Taiwo start up front. I think I agree with Steve. Dennis had earned his chance, so I would have maybe stuck him out on the left. And not because a lot of people are saying he's not playing very well, but he could have perhaps changed things around and maybe say use Johnson or Morgan Gibbs-White as an early second half substitute, bring them on and make some impact. For me, it was more about the subs bench as well. We had 4 defenders on there. So Biancone, Bardet, Bolly and Worrell. Yeah. None of them were used, not one. So that's half the bench with the goalie, and then we got one midfielder, so Mangala, and then you'd got Taiwo, Sam, and Lingard on there. So the other thing I couldn't understand was when he bought Dennis off after 70 minutes and brought Lingard on. I would have been bringing Taiwo or Sam on to give us something more up front, because we were behind 1-0 by then, and with Sam and Taiwo not coming on until the last 5 minutes and the last minute, it just didn't seem to make sense to me.
100%. Like the people I said, get involved. If you want to talk about yesterday's game, if you did go to the game, get your thoughts as well. Me and Lee went to the game, and I got my thoughts, but I'll say that something later on in the game or the podcast. Lee, like I said, me personally, Lee, I think I don't know what you thought about it, Lee. Dennis, he's been given that role to hold the ball, bring in Johnson and Morgan Gibbs-White. It didn't work, did it? As a number 9, it just didn't work for him, did it?
Yeah, he's not a striker, is he? I think we've heard he's not a striker. He played up there last season at times when Watford was short, and but if we're going to play Dennis, he can only play instead of Lingard, Gibbs-White, or Johnson. You've got to play Awoni or Surridge up front. So. We've paid 20 million, haven't we, for Dennis? It's a lot of money. He just doesn't look like a 20 million pound player when you watch him, does he? His control and perhaps some of his awareness and stuff during a game. We haven't seen enough of him, I guess. So I don't really like to criticise players too much, but yeah, I don't know. For me, he'd be playing out wide. I don't really like playing players in the strong position. What's that? Sorry.
It was you.
Yeah, I wouldn't be. I wouldn't be. I don't like playing players out of position, so I'd be playing him. If he prefers playing him out wide, then I'd stick him out there and play Taiwo or Surridge up front. But I'd play Surridge up. I'd start Surridge every game at the moment, because I still think he's the best finisher we've got at the club. I don't think Cooper's perhaps confident in either, though, because we were trying to sign the lad from Chelsea, weren't we, Batshuayi at the end of the window. So we were obviously trying to sign him for a reason. So
but he's not that type of player. He's not like a person that can hold the ball.
No. This is why, I think Costa would have been a good option. I mean, Wolves have just got him on a free, haven't they? And maybe as a short term, but
he was awful. He was awful. I'm sorry, but
he was lazy.
All Costa, mate, and this is my opinion, people. And if you disagree, maybe put in the comments. All Costa did right. What did he do yesterday? But he missed a chance.
But he hasn't played, has he, for 11?
He hasn't played, fair enough. But I just don't think he's like a type of player that.
Yeah, go on. Sorry, Ben, go on.
Can't see it.
No, the chance you're going to touch on then in the first half was obviously you boys watching the stadium, but from the TV, he was lazy. He didn't run back at all to get onside. He just strolled back. He wouldn't even bothered. But they mentioned his match fitness on the TV. So that just showed he's not up to the... And what is he, 35 now? 36?
33, believe it or not.
That's why...
Yeah, I thought he was older, I must admit.
I just don't think he's a type of player that Cooper wants. But there's a comment I want to see, and it's come from Mr. Killer 87. A lot of people saying players player. Then when we play extra Ferreira, we'll talk about Ferreira because I thought he was really good.
I agree with Mr. Killers.
Yeah, everyone says they're rubbish. Seems like Cooper can't do the right thing by fans. And let me talk about, like I said, I'm going to ask Stephen about this one. Me personally, I thought especially the first half, like I said, we wasn't fantastic. Yates, Furler, especially Furler, when he plays in a midfield three, I personally think he plays better.
Yeah.
Because he sits in front of that defence, controls like Spurs when Wolves had Neves and Matana in that midfield, he was controlling it, but we had exactly the same with Fuller. He
doesn't give the. We said, didn't we, during the half? He doesn't give the ball away.
He doesn't give the ball away, and sorry, Des, I can throw in the bus.
And he wants it all the time as well. He's showing for it and asking it and demanding the ball all the time. He's not hiding.
I think we'll see the best of Freuler when we play midfield three.
Yes,
and the other two will be two of Mangala, O'Brien, and Yates.
Yeah, 100%. 100%.
And thing at the moment, and that would suit Freuler more.
100%. And I spoke to Des at half time. And again, Des, I mentioned your name. He said we was rubbish. And remember the game? I think it was Leicester game. Des was angry. He was angry. He wasn't happy. But I personally thought Werner was a perfect person alongside Yates. Maybe Canute wasn't as great as them two, but I thought the midfield three were much better. For me, Dennis, like I said, we mentioned, he's not that person to hold the ball that can bring players like Johnson and Morgan Gibbs-White into play, because we'll talk about Johnson and Morgan Gibbs-White later on. Mark, like I said, the back four, Cook, McKenna, Toffler as well, and Nico Williams. Was you happy with them yesterday?
From what I've read and heard, and people I've spoken to, they said, we did look quite compact. So not too bad from yesterday. It's just a shame. I'd like to see Biancone given a chance, and it's just again Nick Carte, which everyone talks about him. We just really need him back, because I think once he comes back, then that's going to improve the other players around him that everyone's having a go at the moment.
Stephen, what about you? About to say something, Stephen?
I think just checking he could hear properly.
Sorry, I didn't. Yeah. Sorry.
Oh,
Mark.
Okay.
I can see. Am I still here? Yeah.
Yeah, you can still hear. Yeah.
Oh, so my opinion on the back four. Yeah. My opinion on the back four. Obviously, Cook is, under a lot of criticism at the moment. But again, McKenna and Cook are not blessed with pace. But for experience, what do you go with? Do you go with youth and pace, or do you go with experience? And I know McKenna's not a whole head, but I mean, Cook has got old head on him. He's been there and done it at that level. So they are starting to look, they are looking more defensively solid. Like Lee touched on earlier, the Wolves never really got behind us, or even Villa on Monday didn't get behind us really.
We've probably conceded as many chances in the last two games as what we'd shipped in one game each of the last five. You know what I mean? So we have been more solid.
I think where I sympathise with Cooper, right, and we all think we're football managers. We all think we know best as fans. But at the end of the day, when you're looking at it, right, like he came out and I loved his honesty, and he said we just couldn't carry on the way we were playing because we were shipping goals left, right, and centre. Would we have liked to carry on and then got stuffed by Villa 3-0, then gone to Wolves and got stuffed 3-0? Where it's not looking pretty on the eye at the moment, but it's one of them things. Is it a case of short term tighten up, maybe nick a 1-0, 2-0, maybe a 2-1, nick on a break, or do you just want us to play just open and just teams rip us apart? Because that's what's happening.
Yeah.
We need to be boring, don't we? We need to be boring to watch for a while. We need to be boring, ugly to watch.
Yeah, because I'm sure the pundits will love us to get thumped 4-0 every week.
Yeah.
They're lapping it up at the moment. In that Leicester game, we give Maddison the freedom of the park. Maddison just absolutely run that show because we just give him the freedom. No one got stuck into him. No one got tight to him. But since then, we've got tight to the likes of Coutinho, and Toure did get down the right-hand side. I think Toffolo was, Toure will skin most players in that league anyway, but his final ball's terrible. But yeah, I think we have to become boring before we get good. I think it's just we just couldn't carry on the way we were. Otherwise, we would just got absolutely rinsed every week.
I'm going through the comments, and I don't know if it's me. And this is I'm not trying to. And I see people's comments as well. I'm not trying to disrespect anyone's comments, but this is for Frankie, and shout out to Frankie for watching the show. Frankie Brown, are we missing Samba, Spence, Garner, Zink, and Davis? Have we brought better? Right, this is my opinion before I get the guys in. We need to forget about these players. They're not Nottingham Forest players no more. They've moved on. They're legends in their own way. They brought it to the Premier League, and they're doing what they're doing. Garner's gone to Everton. Spencer's gone to Spurs. We know what's going on with Davis. He's gone to Watford in the Championship. Lowe, he's at Sheffield United. And Zink went to Olympiacos. Couldn't get to Olympiacos. Now he's at a Switch side. Just move on. We've got to move on because, I see on Twitter, I see quite a lot of comments we miss Davis. We might miss Davis. Someone who can hold the ball and all that. But let me ask you, Mark, do you miss any of these players?
I do, in terms of, I respect that they helped us get up. They were a big part of that, but I definitely agree with you. We've got to move on. But I think I've said before, the one time I was on your stream and in other streams, Lowe, Davis, both injury prone.
Yeah.
So if we had took them back, we were taking a chance. Spence, we all know, is a London boy. His heart was always in a move to London, to a big London club. And so, although I think he sort of ingratiated himself to our fans, and a lot of our fans love him, we were never really going to get him. Garner would have liked to have taken him, but
he's not. He
just wasn't available soon enough for us. We'd already bought too many midfield players by then.
Exactly. Cooper said it.
Zing, yeah, Zing, I did like him, but it could be really frustrating at times. So. But I wouldn't sort of put them down for their effort last season, because definitely they haven't get us back in the big time.
Exactly.
It's easy for people to say that and to start using the players from last season. But then those same people are probably planning Joe Worrell, Brennan Johnson, Ryan Yates, etc., who were so good last season as well. It's a big step up, as we're seeing, the Championship to Premier League. So there's no guarantees that those players, would have been able to do it for us in the Premier League anyway. So you've got to move on.
Exactly. I said people just move on. Like I said, I respect people's opinions, but I said, I know we all talk about what happened last season and the history, and everyone knows the story, but we're in the Premier League. We're in the Premier League. We can stop thinking about these players.
I think the only one for me, and I think it's affected one particular player and his confidence and the way we played and set up last season, was Spence. I think Johnson, the way we were on our right-hand side, like with Matty Cash and Joe Lolly the season before that right-hand side last year of Spence and Johnson tore teams apart. And I think Johnson's confidence has been hit slightly, that he knows, because the way we set it, we all knew the way we played last year. We ripped teams apart on that wing. Even them FA Cup games against Leicester and Arsenal, everything came down that side. So yes, Spence. That's the one player I was, in the bottom of my heart, I was thinking, please just sign him. But like Mark said, we was always destined to go to Spurs or maybe Arsenal or whatever. That's the one player. I was a big fan of Garner as well.
I was a massive fan of Garner.
Yeah, because he felt like the heartbeat in that midfield. But
He was on. Sorry,
me,
yeah, sorry. The thing, like when Garner was in that role alongside Ryan Yates, he was the one that started going forward. I think that's what we missed. That's what we're missing because we got.
He's a clever player, wasn't he? His positioning and everything.
Yes, and we're missing that 100% because like what we've got Yatesy, Fowler, Karte, Mangala, Brian. He could be that kind of player that can do something.
Because Ryan Yates is not the type of player like a quarterback to take it from the defence and spread it. Garner, like you said, Ben, you are right. Garner did that. So Yates then could mop up in front of him or behind him. Garner would take it from the back, from McKenna or Worrell, and just start spraying the ball around. We haven't got that at the moment.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. I'm going to go through the comments as well, people. And I see, again, more of, like I said, we've missed the hold up like Keenan Davis as well. I know he's playing good for Watford. I think he scored a goal yesterday, I think, as well. I think, and there's another comment I want to see. I don't know, like I said, I went to all the pre-season games, and again, people like Bicone, I thought he was good. Another player, right wing, and he can't get a chance. Bolly as well, ex-Wool player. He's been there, done that for Wolves for the last 2 seasons. He can't get a game as well. We talk about who's the other player that we signed, and he can't get him in. I think he was on the bench with us yesterday. Barday, and we've not seen him play. And
well, so as well, isn't there? Luke and Beso was another one. Yeah, was he captain? Was he French under 21s or French under 18 caps? Really highly rated.
He was French under 21s, 5 million.
Yeah.
Pardon, Steve.
No, we got Spurs in the cup now in November. Hopefully,
hopefully we can play him. Look, last year, Mark, like I said, do you think, like I said, we got, like I said, these players. Do you think they need to get a chance? Because we've got another massive game. All these games are massive now, from the start to from now to the end of the season. And do you think we need to give people like Bicone a chance? Bolly? Who do you think? People in the comments as well. Get involved. Who do you think we should start? Like, should we think we should start Bowley? Bring Joe Worrell back as well, because Worrell was getting so much stick, and we've dropped him for 2 or 3 games. Do you think we should get involved? What do you think, Mark? Do you think we've changed up the defence again?
It's really hard because I said before the start of the season, we'd had to sign that many players that it was going to be a really hard job for Cooper to keep them all happy.
Mm.
And so when you look at the number of defenders we've got and the different positions they can cover, it's like, when do you give them that chance? Because at the moment, we're so desperate for points that, one side of the coin is you don't want to throw them in and then just really regret it. But on the other side of the coin, if you don't throw them in, you're just not going to know what they're capable of. And I think that one of the big things we talked about before the start of the season, we were analysing all of the players that we'd signed, their merits and weaknesses, and we were talking our chances up because we felt some of them were quality, but we were stream after stream debating what our side was going to be.
Yeah.
Who was going to play where. So it is really difficult. Being Coney, I really like the look of him. He scored the goal in the first pre-season friendly.
Yeah, I like him.
After the Notts County game, people were saying that he was one of the ones that Cooper had sort of like spoken disparagingly about, and he's not really had a look in, has he? So,
no.
But then it's, you see, if you play Beard Cone at right back, Williams isn't going to go look in, and Aurier's come on and look fine, okay at the moment, but he's got a little bit of an injury apparently.
Mm-hmm.
So it's you just sport for choice in some positions.
We have. That's the problem. So we've sport with choice, especially in defence. I think everywhere around the club, we just sport for team. And if we lose, like I said, we don't know who's going to play against Brighton because we can speculate who it is, but we've got so many players at the back as well.
Didn't we sign 9 defenders? I think I heard Flex saying the other day, which is pretty remarkable. I mean, when you look at being Coney, because he can play as a centre back as well, can't he?
Yeah, he can.
So he sends back or right back, but then we've gone and signed since then Serge Aurier and Bowley. So those two, in a way, kind of look like, out of those three, you probably at least one of those. Except, well, he's more. You could say he's more for the future at least. But of those three, there's clearly two of them which should never have probably happened, because there's no need to sign three, is there, out of them, when we probably could have just signed one. And I guess that's why people have been axed.
We're probably going to have Omar Richards back after the World Cup.
Forgot about him.
Then you've got the South American guy coming in possibly in January.
I thought he was good to Olympiacos. I thought he was good to Olympiacos to get work from it. But is it, what's his name? I forgot his name now.
Scarpa.
Scarpa. Yeah, Scarpa.
Aguilera, isn't it? Brandon Aguilera.
No. He's staying there. No, he's staying there for the whole season. He's not.
Right.
He's there for the whole season as well.
Well, we don't know systems either, do we? Because he was playing three at the back. So when Nick Carty comes back, are we gonna go back to three at the back? Are we gonna stick with two like we've got at the moment? So there's all that to take into consideration as well.
Exactly. There's 103 people in.
Sorry, Ben. I've seen in the comment as well. One player, the one that scratched my head. I'm assuming it's for the future, and just in case we do get relegated, is Bowler. How we just let him go to Olympiacos. I think, would he be like an X factor? He can carry the ball up the pitch. He's got tricks. He's quite a tricky winger.
Steve, it's funny about it. It's funny about it. I'm about to talk about the end of the show. There's something that we could talk about end of the show because because like I said, Olympiacos playing and he's not in the squad yet.
And what about the South Korean guy?
He's not even in. No, what? I think he's in the team. He's in the Olympiacos team. But that's something that we could talk about later on. Maybe today, maybe the next show. But it's bonkers. It's bonkers. There's 99 people. If you can do a massive favor for me, hit the like button as well. And I'm thinking I'm 204 away from 8K. So if you are new to my channel, if you can, just hit the like button, please, and it helps my channel a lot. Before we talk about the actual players, Dean Henderson's been given lots of stick, and this is for you, Lee. So much stick about his kicking and all that. Do you think he deserves all this stick or do you think it's warranty that should be getting?
Yeah, it's. I mean, I don't like giving him stick, but his kicking is. I mean, against Villa in particular, that was the first time I'd really noticed it. Now I sat in a different seat for the Villa game. I was right behind the dugouts, and even Coops was turning around in disbelief at times of some of the distribution. I don't think it was that bad yesterday, though, was it? Did we think? I know on Monday it was really bad, but it didn't seem to stand out as much yesterday.
It wasn't great yesterday.
No,
it wasn't. I personally think. I don't think.
There's a stage on Monday night where everything seems to be going out over the dugouts. So that's probably why I noticed it even more than ever.
Do you think he deserves a stick, or do you think he should carry on with him? Because I know we got Wayne Henderson as well, but Dean Henderson for me he's a fantastic goalkeeper, and it's something that I will mention later to show about confidence as well, because it is affecting a lot of players.
Henderson's a good, solid keeper, isn't he? I suppose it depended if you wanted that bit more experience. I mean, you saw in the Wales game against Ukraine, Hennessy was superb in that game when he pulled off a couple of really good saves. He's commanding, he's vocal. So you've got, he is a good option, Hennessy, but I wouldn't be losing faith in Henderson just yet.
Steve, Welsh. No, ask Stephen, and I got to ask Mark. Steve, you're a Welsh guy, and Brendan Johnson. He's been, from my point of view, I think his confidence is so low, and you can just tell. And penalty wasn't great, but every single time, and especially the first half, like he's the most dangerous player. Forrest running with the ball, you can tell when he's got the ball, no one can catch him. But his confidence is so low, and when you got about 2 or 3 players ran onto him, it's so hard. And Forest fans I see on social media, and everyone's just has their opinion. It's fine. He's getting so much. You can just tell his confidence is so low, isn't it?
Yeah, and we all know how good he was last season, But this season, I think, is a mix of everything. I touched on the suspense thing earlier. Also, another thing yesterday, I was getting frustrated for him. It just seemed like he couldn't get the ball out of his feet. He just couldn't get going. He just couldn't get the momentum going. He's like a running treacle. I think it's another mix of everything. He's still a young lad as well. Like, there's so much pressure on that lad. Only about a year ago, he was saying he's worth 40-50 million pounds.
Mm.
And now he's the worst player this season. Just getting his fans through, innit? It's just got to stick by him.
The word, you know what, Steve? The word is, and this is fickle.
Yeah.
People it's the word fickle.
People forget how young he is. He only turned 21 in May. He's still a young player, and it really annoys me when people get on the backs of the local lads in particular, because those guys, Worrell, Yates, Johnson, they kept of all the players in that squad that we've signed, and you can some people call them mercenaries and this, that, and the other. Those three lads care the most about Nottingham Forest.
I don't care that.
They're the easiest targets for the fans, and it really does get them back up.
Lee, right, let me touch on that, because people moan at me saying, I stick up for Worrell, Yates and Brennan. The reason I stick up for him, because like I said, these are our home-going players, and people in the chat want to give me stick, feel free. But Brennan's a young lad, 21 years old. His confidence is shot down. That's why I feel about it. His confidence is so low. Right, Yatesy as well. I personally thought Yatesy was all right yesterday. And Joe Worrell, he's not played for the last 2 or 3 games, so people can't slag him off either.
Believe it or not, I did actually see somebody on Facebook on it's a team selection, and somebody was moaning. He said, and it actually said, I bet Worrell's got something to do with it. Unbelievable. It's probably still up there now.
Oh, it's unbelievable. What Mark? What do you think, Mark? Do you think like people like Brennan, Yatesy deserve the criticism?
I think Brennan, like Steve said, he's a young lad. He needs nurturing. He had a brilliant season last season. Yeah, we all hoped he was going to rip the Premiership up this season, but he's, like I say,
it's difficult,
at his age, he's not going to be able to do it week in, week out.
That's the thing.
And he is one of those players who he thrives off good service.
Yes.
I can't say so much about yesterday, but things like in the home games, especially the Villa game, Henderson kicking out to him in the air when he's not the best of headers. It should be on the floor for Jono. And there was 3 or 4 times in the second half when they were playing towards the Trent end and threw balls to set Brennan on the way, just were intercepted. Yeah. They just, unfortunately, whether it was just a bad pass or just a bit unlucky. And if he'd have been in behind, everything could have been different. And, I'm seeing a lot of social media comments saying, get him out, he's not good enough. Well, he is good enough. It's just, he's the type of player who needs that service to show just how good he is.
From like when I was watching, especially the first half, like I said, there's a time when Brennan has the ball and it was just a gang of wolves on him. There's 3 of them. He couldn't do nothing. And when he got
the same, Ben, the first game of the season, Newcastle smothered him.
Exactly, they smothered him. And
people are forgetting, right? We're in the Premier League now. He's up against better left backs, better players in the Championship. They're not as good. So, John, who had the better of these left backs in the Championship, he's going to skin them. But in the Premier League, he's going to find his feet. He has to find his feet. And there's going to be one game he's going to tear a team apart. There's going to be that one game he's going to come alive. Against Leicester, he took the ball from his own half. He ran through them and almost scored. He can.
He'll become a better player for all this as well, because he's got to learn. Like you said, Steve, he's got better players around him now. But sometimes they might be doubling up. He's got to figure out ways of rising above that, and he'll only become a better player. I've said all season we've got to hammer the games into him because he'll only get better. That yesterday's the first time where I do feel his confidence looked a bit shot, and especially after that penalty. I mean, they'll know better.
Let's talk about the penalty. Like it was a poor penalty, wasn't it?
It was, yeah. I've seen it back a couple of times,
he ran that too straight. And once
he didn't look confident in just before he took it, did he?
And the keeper played mind games with him as well. The keeper took an age.
Yeah, he took an age.
And then straight away he's in his head. And they've done a close up of Jono's face on the TV, and he looked just like, "Come on, get on with it." And his run up is too straight as well. You know, when you open your body up a bit more, run on angle, you can bend it. But when you run in straight there, it gives the keeper more of a, a chance to get down.
What do you think, Mark? Like I said, we're talking about Brennan. Like I said, there's so much pressure on a young lad. Like I said, he was one of the best players last season. And we know there's quite a lot of players, but he's playing against top players. And like I said, I'm not trying to. People think I'm trying to defend Brennan. I'm not trying to defend him. And this is what like this. I'm a big fan of Yates here. I'm not trying to defend Yates. I'm trying to defend these homegrown players. I'm just saying there was like everyone's talking Brennan, criticizing his performance. What I've heard on social media about other things about Brennan, like it just talk about his performance. Don't talk about his personal life and all that. And shout out to David Johnson. It gets my nerves, but Mark, like I said, it's easy to criticize these academy players, isn't it?
Oh yeah, I mean, I think he just needs using a bit more sensibly. Like I said, I don't think we ought to be playing him every game, and that's not because I don't think he's good enough.
Yeah,
I just think that we can make better use of him if we're not playing him week in, week out, and for 90 minutes.
Maybe as an impact sub.
Yeah, and
for a while.
And I keep saying we possibly need to look at playing slightly different formations home and away. And at home, yeah, you might want him on the pitch for 90 minutes, but away, he might be better coming on early in the second half, especially if we need him.
A bit like what Surridge was doing last season in the Championship, wasn't it? Sometimes finishing games and
you think, right? If defenders are getting tired with 20 minutes to go, the last thing they want is Johnson coming on running at them.
Yeah,
running back to their own goal, tired. Johnson's pace, get behind him. And I agree with Mark. Maybe just take him out the firing line for one game, and by him sitting on the bench, we'll go. I'm going to prove these fans, wrong there. I'm going to come on now and show what I can do.
It's not like we're short of options either, is it? In that area, you could play Dennis where Jono is for a few games, and then put Awoni up front or something, and it just, he's got that little bit of experience.
And another thing is people are forgetting about Johnson. He's had a long season as well. He's been playing a lot of international games as well for Wales. We're forgetting that as well. He's an international player now. He's going to the World Cup. And I've seen a few comments on Twitter saying people are worried that he's pulling out the challenges and not stretching himself because he wants to go to the World Cup. I understand that. But to criticise him the way they are, it's just, I think it's totally unfair, I think. Like
I said, everyone's got opinion on each player, and it's fine. Like I said, just always, like I said, because people need, like I said, I keep reminding people what happened last season. It's not going to happen. It's never going to happen again. It's never going to happen ever again of what happened last season. We're in the Premier League. I said at the start of the season, we're going to have more downs. And now, right at that time, it's more downs now. So people need to remember, Premier League, it's one of the best leagues in the world. Give these young players time, but stop criticising as much as you can. There's 96 people in here. If you can help me out, just hit the like button as well. Mark, we've got Brighton next. We'll just mention like Brennan, give him a rest. And you know what? Let me change subject. Lingard come on yesterday, and who was it? Mangala come on yesterday. It changed the game a little bit. What was you impressed with Lingard yesterday?
From what I heard on the radio, he had a few good touches, yeah. For me, it was just, even though he did have those good touches, because of the way the substitutions were made and Dennis was brought off, we had no out-and-out striker until Taiwo came on after 84 minutes. So when he took Dennis off and put Lingard on, we had no striker.
Yeah, that's a problem.
And we were 1-0 down, so we needed a striker on.
That's I think I want to mention as well. I'm gonna get Lee on this one. Like I've always said, and shout out to Phil. Sturridge is the best finisher at the club. That's my opinion. After the goal he scored last season for us, me personally, I think we've got to give him a chance. What's your opinion, Tilo? Like, say, Tara Wadney, he's not started as great as we thought he
finding
will.
his feet though as well, isn't he? I would give Sam a chance. I don't think he's really had a chance either in the Premier League. That's the thing. I mean, I got into a debate with somebody on Facebook the other day saying, "Oh, he's not good enough."
Always do.
So, how can you say?
Always have debates on Facebook. Stay away from Facebook.
I did stay off it last night. I did stay off it, but how can you say somebody's not good enough when, as he says, Surridge even started a game this season? He started maybe early. He started Newcastle, but yeah, he hasn't played enough games to judge. Even if he played every game, we've only played 10 games anyway. So it's too early to judge. But I would certainly play Sam or Tyro and play an out and out striker up there.
You know what? We'll put it in the chat. People, like I said, we've got Brighton next, and I am doing a Brighton show tomorrow at 9:00 with a Brighton fan, so make sure everyone watches that as well. I'll go for the panel for like another massive game against Brighton, and as you know, we play 4-3-3. I'll stick with 4-3-3. What front three people would you play? People, like I said, there's quite a lot of them. Let me start with you, Steve. Like, there's quite a lot. Like Lingard, come on, he was good. Storage, bright spot, little bright spot. Tawani, all right again. What front three would you start tomorrow, Steve? And people in the comments, get involved. What front three would you start? What would you start with you, Steve?
Yeah, I would give Johnson a rest because all the reasons I just touched on. So my front three would be Dennis out left, Sam up front, and Gibbs White on the right.
Okay. What's the reason for that?
I know Gibbs White is another player who's been criticised, but Gibbs White, for me, he's still got that trick in him. He's still got that bit he can open a defence up. He's still got that footballing brain. For me, I think he's got to play for me for now because I think Cooper loves him as well and the way we play, the way we set up going forward. So I'd keep him in. Dennis off the left because I agree with Lee, he's not an out-and-out striker. And then play Sam up front because I think he deserves a chance. And I agree with you 100%. He is the best finisher in the club. Because them couple of chances against Leicester, Taiwo hit the post. I think Sam would have taken that. I think there was a chance in the second half against Leicester. Sam would have taken as well.
I wish he'd had that header yesterday. And I wish he'd been in that Yates position.
Yeah.
It would have been different.
Yeah, 100%. But can I just mention one little stat as well? What I got in front of me now. This interesting tweet I saw earlier about the season. Just mention, maybe you can touch on later on. This person put a tweet out about the matches so far this season. Newcastle away, we were 0-0 half time.
Yep.
West Ham, we were 1-0 up. Everton, we were 0-0. Then we were 1-0 up. Bournemouth, we were 2-0 up half time. Fulham, we were 1-0 up half time. Villa, we were 1-1 half time. And Wolves, we were 0-0 half time. So when you just look at that, like, I know it's slightly off subject now. I just wanted to mention that because for me, that just shows we're not a million miles away. It's just a lack of concentration.
Yeah.
And it just shows when you take the Spurs game and the Man City game out of the equation and the Leicester game. The game so far, we've been in touch and distance. It's just a lack of concentration, that lack of quality. And maybe that reflects on the fact we haven't been obviously going forward, found the right combination yet and been clinical. And obviously we've been leaking goals as well. So I just thought I just mentioned that, Ben. Sorry, I just added my phone by there now.
It's fine, don't worry. Tilo, what from free? Before I do get to Tilo, I've got some comments on there as well. From Michael Lane, I put Johnson, Sturridge, and MGW. Frankie says MGW, Sturridge, and Dennis. Lee says, how you doing, Lee? Sam, Dennis, and Gibbs. James says, Morgan, Gibbs, White, Tanner, Warney, and Johnson. Rebel says, Sturridge, Floyler, and Morgan, Gibbs, White. Don't get what you mean on that one.
I think Floyler's an attacker.
Nah, he's more of a DM.
Definitely a City, yeah.
Yeah, he's 100% a sitter. Like I said, I personally thought
Over the years, being a big Serie A fan, as you know, Ben. But yeah, he's definitely not.
Here comes the talk. He's talking Italian now. We're not
I'm not going to mention it now.
Mark, what would you be your front three?
I think as we're away, for me it would be Dennis on the left, Morgan Gibbs, White on the right, Johnson on the bench, bring him on second half, and then I think Taiwo up front, and then bring Sam on early second half. I'm not sure Sam. I mean, I know Taiwo's been a bit inconsistent, but he has scored. Sam's not had a good run out, but he had his groin operation for the start of the season, so I don't know whether he'd be up to 94 minutes or not. We'd only see it if he tried it out. But I think that would be for me: Dennis, Gibbs, White, Taiwo to start with, and then Surridge and Johnson coming off the bench in the second half. At home, I might go slightly different.
I'm going to do mine. I think I'll do mine for Brighton. Like I said, it's a massive game. It's a big game. Like, it's the bottom of the league. But I think my front three, I'm not, like I said, I'm not going to say it because I'm another Johnson family now, but I'll still stick with Brennan. He's a person that's got pace, can take them the defenders on, but I think it was the last. I think it was last 5 minutes where he ran past Neves like he wasn't there, but it was his end product. It was lacking. So me personally, I'll stick with Brennan. Sturridge, best finisher for me, best finisher at the club, and then out of Morgan Gibbs, White or Dennis. Even the problem is we've got so many good players. It's just confidence. We've got no confidence at all. It's just rock bottom, and I think I've got to stay with Dennis, Sturridge, and Johnson. That's me. But people agree.
That's the thing, Ben. That stat, them run of results I just give you now at half time, it just shows, like you said, the confidence. It's all about confidence because we've been going in half time in games just by running off that there, and for me, that just shows, like you just summed it up, the lack of confidence. We've got the players there.
Exactly, we have got the players.
2-0 up against Bournemouth. Going 1-0 up against Fulham. Against Villa on Monday, I thought we missed a golden opportunity there. I think we could have thumped them. Villa were terrible. They're one of the worst teams I've seen in a while. Like, honestly, they were. I don't know if you boys went to the game. Was all three of you at the game Monday night?
Yeah.
For me, I don't know if it's just correct me if I'm wrong, but Villa were terrible. They had more ball than us, but they were awful. And Wolves yesterday, like, what's disappointing me at the moment is, the teams we thought, right, we've taken the points off now, they have gone now, and now we've got Brighton, Liverpool, and Arsenal in a row. Sorry, my headphones come out then. We've got Brighton, Liverpool, and Arsenal in a row now, and it's like, be typical Forest now to win all three, wouldn't it?
What we love that'd be fantastic to see Forest beat all three of them. But on yesterday's performance,
so we've got them. They've got us where they want us now. We can. They think we're down and out.
Well, I don't know. Anything could happen. People need to remember.
I agree with Gary Marriott. What he said earlier is on one of the chats. We just need to go all siege now. Everyone's against us. It's us against everyone now. The pundits, the media, kicking us when they're down. That commentator yesterday, the channel I watched, it was disgusting. How biased he was. He was awful. They just got in for us. I don't know what it is. But someone at Forest needs to stop putting out stupid tweets like that one.
Right. I think that was
a rod for your own back. I mean, when you post things like that, you better win.
Right. If people don't know what happened, I think everyone does. Forest put a tweet out saying, "Playtime."
Dennis with
Forest admin had a egg on his face because
embarrassing.
Fair play to Wolves. You've got to give it to them. They put a response to it saying, "Playtime's over." Daytime's over.
Action
And the banner says, what does the advertising board say?
Safe journey.
Safe trip home, not Forest.
Not Forest fans with on the tree. So fair play to the Wolves admin. I'm not going to throw the guy under the face. I know who does the admin at Forest, but I'm not going to show the guy's face because it was.
I personally didn't see any. I quite like banter, so I didn't see anything in it. I just laughed at it.
I laughed at it.
A lot of people are like, "Oh, taking offence." I didn't
exactly.
care. Really.
I saw a tweet.
Come on.
Like, I'm not going to say. I know who did it as well. I'm not going to throw the guy under the face. Oh, why are we doing TikToks and this and that? Listen to me, people. We're in the social media world. Forest can do what they want. Like we do what we want. I do my YouTube channel. Are you going to criticize it? Shut up. If you don't like it, get off. People, there's 102 people. If you can do a massive favor for me, hit the like button, subscribe if you know. There's any comments that you want to talk about. It could be Forest, Steve Cooper, or anything. Put in the comments. Mark, I think I spoke to Tillo and Steve about Steve Cooper. Are you happy with him, the way it's going on, or was you disappointed that Forest gave him a contract?
I was actually one of the people who said I was on Dan the Man stream when the contract offer was withdrawn, and I said to Dan in his stream, I said, I think they may have withdrawn it so they can give him a better offer. So I was the one person that called it out, and everyone else was shocked when he got the better offer. For me, the guy, he transformed us last season. He brought us up. What the club are doing is a long-term project to give us a stay in the Premiership. And for me, Cooper is the man for that long-term project. He's still finding his way. He's got no real Premiership management experience himself.
Exactly.
He's learning on the job.
And that's what annoys me. And this is what
He's
annoys
got a brand
me.
new team.
Yeah.
And I personally, I think, he's the man for the job. And we have to accept the long-term project. Part of that might involve us going down the first season, but the way the club's being structured, hopefully means we'll be in a much better place to come straight back up. And we have to accept that because it might happen. I don't want it to happen. No one does. And I think that's why everyone gets so high and mighty about it or upset and starts calling for Cooper to be sacked, just because we're going through a run of bad results. Everyone does the same.
Everyone does it.
It's like last season, Newcastle, look where they were at the start.
Right. You know what? Can I say something? Sorry to put in. Right. I don't know who it was. Shout out to Gary Marriott. He put like a message for the group. Newcastle had, was it 5 points or 6 points?
They didn't win until November.
Yeah, they didn't win until November. I'm not saying we're Newcastle because Newcastle right now are doing fantastic. But when Newcastle was so low, everyone was saying they would get relegated. Now look at them now. You can class them as a mid-table, top 8, 10 team. It'll take time, Forest fans. Take its time. But it is what it is. Right.
Sorry, Ben. It's just when things again. If we start sacking managers again, going through our feet, everyone will be like, "Oh, look at us laughing stock, just sacking managers." And then when we stick with someone, everyone's like, "I'll just sack him, get someone new in." You just can't win.
Can't win. This is why about social media are like. And I put a tweet out yesterday after the game, and I was coming back, and everyone knows how I go to every Forest game. Someone called me kids on 16 could be years. Called me a twat. I follow my club. Why am I that? Because I follow my club. Because we're in a bad state. All four of us in here, and people in the comments as well, we follow our club through highs and lows. People need to remember the first 6 games last season. It was shocking. Cooper comes in. Everyone knows the story. It's just mind-boggling how people want to say about Cooper, get rid of Cooper, bring. I'm not going to mention because Tillo's going to love it. Bring Rafa Benitez in. Bring
Hey, don't say that. No, I wanted.
Lee, I'll throw you under the bus. Lee said to me.
I didn't say I wanted Rafa in. I wanted Cooper to stay.
No. That's if Cooper got sacked. What I'm trying to say, if Cooper got sacked,
If he had, yeah.
Yeah, if we had. Sorry, I didn't want to try and disrupt Lee. If we got rid of Cooper, Rafa would have been a good choice to stable the club. That's what he said, rightly. Even Stephen.
I think we've got to be realistic. I think if the club had sacked Steve, beggars can't be choosers. Who do we realistically think that we should go out and get?
Rafa would have.
What Rafa did at Newcastle is kind of what we need at the moment, which is just to stay afloat, keep our heads above water for 18 months, and push on. Now I'm hoping that we can do that with Cooper, but if he'd gone, then I can't think of another manager that we could have realistically got who could have done that, unless it was somebody left field that we never heard of, like another Lamouchi type manager. But in the position we were in, bottom of the Premier League, I think Rafa Benitez would have been a steady, stable choice. But I'm glad it didn't happen because I want Coops in.
Yeah, 100%. Right. Before we do go, I want to talk about these penalty decisions, and let me ask you, Lee. No, that's Stephen, because he watched on TV, and because from our angle we couldn't see it. Was it a penalty, Lee? Mistake, Stephen. Was it a penalty?
What, for Wolves?
For Wolves, was it a penalty? Because I still watch it back, and I don't see it was a penalty. But people in the comments, was it a penalty?
The thing that peed me off, right, was about in the first half, Nico Williams had a shot, and it brushed past one of their defenders' arms. Now I don't know how much you picked it up in the stadium. They did do a VAR check in it, right? Now they only showed that twice. Okay. End of. The Toffler one, they must have showed about 100 times, over and over and over. It's like they almost were like making it like zoomed right into his hand almost to say to the ref, "It's a penalty, give it." It was doing my head in. So prior to that, it was like, "Oh, forget about that. Don't look at the Wolves one, just move on." The Toffler one, from the angle on the TV, he turns his body, and what doesn't help him is his hand makes that motion.
Yeah.
Now, if he hadn't done that, I don't think the shot either one have got in. No, I think Henderson had it covered anyway. But it's just his reaction was, if he kept his hand there, but his hand came up. So for me, the amount of time they spent honestly, like lads, the amount of time they just replayed.
Steve, me and Tillo was like, what the hell is happening?
Honestly, no, Ben, I can't explain, right? Honestly, now, they must have replayed it about 100 times and almost zoomed in on Toffler's hand. I'm not joking. The Yates' one, right? Now, I don't know what you picked up in the stadium, but the Yates' one was, I thought he was going to give the handball. But then I didn't even know Yates was taken out. And then they replayed about 4 times, and the ref obviously ran over to the halfway and looked at the screen and then give it. But yeah, it's just unbelievable. It's like almost they wanted to give the penalty. They were obsessed.
Though, I can't understand why the ref even had to look at the screen on either penalty. Because I'll be honest, I do think the Wolves penalty was a penalty, but only because of how strict and fussy the handball rule is at the moment, where they seem to be giving a handball for anything. If that had been the other way around and we hadn't got a penalty for that, I'd have been livid. So, but surely the referee didn't need to go and look at the screen. That should have been a given because the rules are what they are. And the Yates one, I mean, he got dragged to the floor. The Wolves player never took his hands off him. So I can't understand why the ref even had to go over and look at the screen.
Right. Last but not least, would like to say who was your man of the match yesterday. I know, like I said, it wasn't great a game, but people in the comments, who was your man of the match? I will put in the comments as well for the panel as well. I'll say my opinion on who I thought was a man of the match. Let me start with you, Lee. What play impressed you yesterday?
Freuler didn't give the ball away, but at the same time, he probably didn't really create loads. Did he? Nobody really seemed to stand out. I'd probably give it to Scott McKenna or Steve Cook. I thought we were solid at the back. I've been a bit nervous about Steve Cook this season, but I thought the last 2 games he's looked really steady, and he put in a really good last-ditch tackle last night. Yesterday we were chasing the game. I'd probably give it Scott McKenna.
Mark, who do you feel was your man of the match? While listening to the radio.
From what I picked up off the radio and commentary and comments on social media and that, again, Freuler, but not by any means, standing out from anyone else in particular. I think there were all the players' ratings. They got much of a muchness on a lot of sites that I've had a look at. So there was no one that really stood out.
Steve, who's your man of the match?
Yeah, I'm going to agree with Lee again tonight. I think.
Don't agree with him.
Yeah, Steve Cook or Scott McKenna for me. I think it's just the fact. Yeah, like Lee said, just looked solid. Didn't give him much. Freuler, can I just touch on Freuler? The one thing I say about him, you can tell he's international player. He's got that little bit of quality on the ball. Like he done that little turn yesterday in the middle of the park and spread out wide. I forgot who it was, to Gibbs White or Johnson on the left.
Yeah,
he's got that little bit of quality on the ball. You can just tell he's a little bit of step up from what we got, and just give him a bit of time. I think we've got a player there. So probably out of them three, probably leaning more towards my boy McKenna or Steve Cook.
I must say though, I'm really pleased to see Steve Cook at least steadying it, because he was such a cult hero last season when he came in. If he hadn't come in January, I don't think we'd have gone up. He was superb. Yeah. And it was horrible seeing him struggling the way he was at the start of the season. And I'm pleased now that he's at least, he's played well the last couple of games, and I'm pleased for him, because I don't think he deserved to sort of be under the firing line the way he was at the start of the season.
I was just having a look at the BBC Sport website. McKenna got the highest rating of any of the Forest players, but none of us got 6 or over.
I mean, Cook almost set up Yates, didn't he? That was a clever knockback at the end. That was a really clever knockback.
Yates should have scored.
It's got to hit the target there, yeah.
Got to hit the target, because everyone mentioned about he's got 50 pence.
It was identical, mate, it wasn't it? Do you remember the Stoke equaliser he got last season with the last kick? It was identical. It was the same position almost and everything, and I can't believe he didn't hit the target.
Yeah, he should be Yatesy boy. He should be scoring them from there, but it is what it is. Before I get my man of the match, like I said, you mentioned Cook and McKenna. I thought I was having a little chat with Steve's son, and he said to me, "We're too deep. We had to play deep because Cook and McKenna, they're not that fast, but when they can control the defense, Cook and McKenna are out there." But me personally, especially the first half, Fuller was my man of the match because he controlled the game. Balls, you can tell when he plays that free midfield, he plays better. Not in a 2, 3. And that's why I mentioned Canute. He didn't really play good. Yates, I think Yates played all right alongside Fuller, but when Mangala come on, I like them 3. So, me personally, I think Fuller was my man.
That'd be a good midfield 3, that wouldn't it? Mangala, Freuler, Yates.
Yes, I personally think
they've got all sorts of different attributes there.
Yeah, that's my midfield.
It's got a bit of energy in it as well, and it's got some cleverness with Freuler. It's got Yatesy ratting away. It looks a really good midfield 3, those.
100%. Right,
people all played together at all though.
That's the thing, isn't it? Yeah.
Hopefully against Brighton, because like I said, it'll be good midfield, but.
And then O'Brien coming on in the second half.
Yeah. Why not? Yeah. Why not? O'Brien's going to win the goal in the 90th minute. That would be fantastic, wouldn't it? Right, people, thank you for everyone that took the time as well to watch this. Thank you, Steve, Tiller, and as well, Mark, for coming on the channel as well. People, Mark is a member to the channel. If you want to be a member, please hit the link is at the bottom as well. The pound sign, £2.99 a month. It helps my channel a lot. Like I said, do these previous review shows. And going to football games as well, it helps my channel a lot. So if you want to do a super chat as well, help the show, please do. I'm doing my Brighton preview show tomorrow at 9 o'clock with a fan, so please take note of that as well. Steve, where's the next game you coming to, Steve?
Whenever I get a ticket. Yeah, unless I just come up and
you
just
should
try
have
and
gone
get
to
a
Brighton. People in the comments, is anyone going Brighton? I'm going Brighton. Lee, you Brighton.
I'm going, mate. Yeah, nice 4 hours, 45-minute drive there and back. So yeah, 2 days off work, lovely.
Brighton's quite a trek, yeah.
Mark, you're not going Brighton, are you? But you've got a season ticket, haven't you?
I've got a season ticket. Yeah.
Yeah, Mark's got a season
I
ticket.
could have got a ticket for Brighton. I'm not an away member, but there have been a few tickets floating about.
Has it sold out? Did it sell out in the end?
Yeah, but I think there's some people aren't going, so they're offering their tickets. For me, at my age, it's just a long trek on a Tuesday.
To me, you could have done a run.
I'd have had to take time off work, which I'm planning to use later in the year. So,
right, people.
I wouldn't mind going to the Southampton game next year. That's a nice little trip, don't it?
That's
January 2nd, isn't it? That's the first game in the new year. Yeah.
Yeah. I've never.
They're gone, Ben.
Fulham away. You're about to say?
Yeah, Fulham away, only because they got a neutral end there as well. So I should get a ticket there because my mate, he's a kind of Fulham fan. He's been there many times. He says they got a neutral end there, so I should be able to get a ticket for the Fulham game.
I love Fulham away. It's one of the best grounds, friendly family one as well, and I love going Fulham. I've been there twice. Forest beat them twice. Hopefully we can go there and beat them again. But yeah, people. Before I go through the comment, just see if the comment. Spacebar, good show, guys. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Mark, for again. But yeah, as well, people. Thank you everyone that has just watched us talking about Forest. I know again another defeat on the road, bottom of the league. Another massive game against Brighton. Brighton are thinking they're 7th or 8th in the league. So,
I think there's green shoots of recovery, mate. I'm going to Brighton. I'm optimistic we can get a result.
100%. But that last comment. Thanks, Guy, and Up the Forest. Thank you very much, Justin, for taking your time as well, and thank you for everyone again that's come back. Right, people. Thank you, everyone. I'll be back at 9 o'clock with a Brighton fan, and hopefully we can. I'll be going to Brighton. Or you. I'll see you tomorrow at 9 o'clock. Peace and love, everyone. Up the Forest.